You know, if you have a conversation about life in the South, at some point, quilting is probably going to come into the conversation. Lucy Rymer is here. She's with the Museum Center at 5 Points in Cleveland, and she's excited because y'all are about to put on your quilt show, right?
Yes, we've been doing this quilt show for 25 years. It's our Stitches in Time quilt show, and it's coming up Wednesday, March 19th through Saturday, March 22nd. So we're just a couple weeks away. This week we've been very busy in taking all those quilts. I know yesterday at the end of the day, we had 76 quilts that had already been entered, and it's not even the weekend yet. So
is it a competition of sorts, or is it just a display?
Yes, we do actually give awards, and there's many different ones. Gosh, we'll give one for art quilts and bed quilts and lap quilts and crib quilts. I mean, I never knew, honestly, until I started working at the museum, how many different categories of quilts there were. But we give out, I think, 5 different awards.
Are you a quilter?
I am not, but my grandmother was, and my sister is.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
So I've had an opportunity, I'm not a quilter either, but I've had an opportunity to go and visit several quilt shops around the area.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the detail work that they have to do.
Yes, and I know the first time I attended the quilt show, and I'm ashamed to admit this, was when I started working at the museum about 4 years ago.
That's okay.
And you know, as long as we've been in Cleveland, I knew it was happening, but I was like, you know, that's not really for me. I don't think that's my thing. That's not for me. The first year that I was there and we displayed these quilts, and I walked into that room and I was just blown away. I mean, the level of artistry and the amount of work that goes into making these quilts, especially the ones that are hand done, it's truly amazing.
Yeah, when you were first telling me what you're calling it, which is Stitches in Time, that's such a fitting name.
It is such a fitting name,
because quilts kind of tell history.
They do.
Your family's history as well as our history.
Yeah. There's a lot of work that goes into these quilts, and you know, for example, speaking of family history, we have one quilter. She does make art quilts, but a lot of those she had on display. I believe her name is Sandra Presley. She was our featured artist a couple years ago. They're portraits, and so she has quilted, you know, these enormous photos of people or experiences that she's had into these quilts, and I mean, they're really, really just beautiful. She's actually going to be teaching a workshop on art quilts.
Well, let's talk about that then. Yeah. So it's not just the exhibit. It's participatory.
It is participatory. There's at least 2 workshops each day, and some of those are more lecture style, some of those are more hands-on. So we've got workshops on celebration quilts and art quilts. We have a charity quilt workshop where people will get together and they will work on making quilts for a specific charity. I know multiple years it's been Isaiah 117 House that they've sent those quilts to. James McKissick from Arts Build is coming to do a fiber arts workshop. He's going to do looming or weaving, and everybody gets to take a small loom home with them. So he is asking that people bring some yarn to help out with that class, and there is an extra cost for that one, but it's only $5. So
this is also, your girls are still in school, so you're not there yet, but this is also that mad rush time where a lot of moms are wanting to do a t-shirt quilt for their kids before they graduate. So it could be a good networking opportunity to find some local quilters.
Yeah, it really could be. We do have vendors that will be at the quilt show as well. So I do encourage people to come and shop, and they do have all kinds of quilting equipment and fabric, and then we do you know, have some with, I know last year we had a teddy bear quilter, and she had these little quilted teddy bears. We actually kept her around and kept her teddy bears in the gift gallery at the museum because people just loved them.
You know, when I got married in 1995, and so fittingly, I guess, there was a movie that came out with Winona Ryder called How to Make an American Quilt. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes.
So I don't know if I loved it because I was getting married and that was kind of the theme of the story or not, but it was Maya Angelou and all these actresses, remember, and they made their own quilt square of what love meant to them. And that was kind of my first insight into the storytelling that is quilt making.
Yes, and it is. And you know, one thing that we're going to do during this, one of our workshops, is a bed turning. And I don't know if you've heard,
I don't know what that
bed turning. It's kind of like show and tell for quilts, but you know, way back when there weren't a lot of opportunities for women to get together and have a community, when the men would get together and they would do their thing, the women would go into a bedroom, they would bring their quilts, and they would lay all those quilts out on the bed, and then they would take turns holding the quilt up and talking about the history and the story behind that quilt and what it meant to them. So we are going to do that at the museum. We do it each year during the quilt show, and it's a really special experience.
That'll be nice. Is this a ticketed thing?
It is a ticketed thing. Now, it is free for museum members and Cherokee Blossom Quilt Guild members. They've been our partners in this for the past 25 years, so they get in free as well. But if you're not a member, it's only $5. So
that's easy.
It's easy to come. It is well worth your money. Again, you get access to the vendors. You get access to more than 100 quilts that will be on display, and they are all over the museum. And we also have to give a huge shout out to the Houston Museum of Decorative Arts. They are our featured artist this year, and they've got a coverlet display in our lobby. They'll also be there doing one of our workshops as well.
I'm telling you, it is called the Cultural Center for a reason.
It truly is.
There is so much you will find there. So here are the dates for the quilt show, March 19th through 22nd.
Yes.
At the Museum Center at 5 Points in Cleveland on Inman Street. And when she's been talking about the vendors, they also have a great little gift shop where you can shop local artists and things, so enjoy your day.
Absolutely. And I will say, if I can, it starts at 10 a.m. each day.
Okay.
The hours that it ends vary, so get on our website. There's more information at www.museumcenter.org. And I want to say a very special thank you to Hughes Retirement Group, who's our sponsor this year, and we could not do it without them.
Very good.